This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
This Shabbos we learn two Parshas, Parshas Chukas and Parshas Balak. The combination of these two Parshas at first glance seems highly unusual. Typically when we learn two Parshas, there's a common theme between the two Parshas. Vayakel Pekude talks about the construction of the Mishkan. Tazria Mitzayra talks about Tzaras, even Matos Maseh talks about the borders of Eretz Yisrael. But what would the connection be between Chukas and Balak? Chukas and Balak. Chukas speaks about Paraduma, the Misa, Miriam, and Aaron. Balak talks about the Klalos, the attempted Klalos of Bilam. Why combine Chukas and Balak? What would the connection be? The Sefer Nachlas Yosef brings that the connection between Chukas and Balak is Chukas ends that Vayeshev Yisrael be'eretz ha'emayri, Perek Chaf Aleph, Pasuk Lamed Aleph, that Klal Yisrael settled on the land of the Emayri, and Parshas Balak begins, Vayar Balak ben Tzipari, Kol Asher Asa Yisrael lo Emayri. Furthermore, I would add that Chukas literally ends, Vayachanu ba'arvois Moav, and then Parshas Balak begins, Vayagar Moav. But if anything, you would have thought to combine Balak and Pinchas, because Balak speaks about what happens with Kozbi and Zimri, with the Maisa of Baal Pa'ar, and then Pinchas begins how Pinchas eradicated and took care of that Avera. But so far these are two connections. Namely, Chukas ends with Klal Yisrael living in the land of the Amoiri, and Balak begins the Vayagar Moav, because Asher Asa Yisrael Amayri, or Chukas concludes Vayisum Neis Vayachna be'arvois Moav, and then Parshas Balak tells us what happened in the Arvois Moav. There may perhaps be another level of connection. Many Svarim bring that the Parshas of Korach, Chukas, and Balak all have three letters and have a kuf in it. Korach begins with a kuf, Chukas has a kuf in the middle, and Balak ends in a kuf. Kuf stands for Kedusha, where Korach was holy in the beginning, although he did not end well. Chukas, you have somebody who became Tameh, he then became pure, that's why the Kuf's in the middle, but those who were involved with it became impure themselves. And then Balak ends in a Kuf, because in the end, because of Balak doing something for what he thought was for the sake of his purposes, ultimately from Balak came Rus. So the Kedusha was in the end. So there seems to be a connection, at least, between Korach, Chukas, and Balak. So all these three parshas are connected. Furthermore, each of these three parshas speaks about a peh that was created Mishesh Yasimei Bereshis. Korach, the pi haaretz. Chukas, the pi of the Be'er of Miriam. Balak, the pi ha'asain. In fact, Kabbalistically, even the Magen Avram brings down that there is a segula of saying P, referring to the three piyos of the pi haaretz, pi habe'er, and the pi of the asain. So now that these three parshas are connected, the question would then be, why do we group Chukas Balak as opposed to Korach and Chukas? But it seems like Korach, as a Baal Machloikis, we can't group him together with anybody. So since these three parshas are connected, it's more reasonable to connect Chukas to Balak rather than Korach to Chukas. These are some of the connections between the upcoming parshas Chukas and Balak. Haba Alinu L'Taiva.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.